Every time I hear a new announcement for a new video game movie, I get nervous. That's because the film industry has made it their mission to ruin every single franchise they can possibly get their greedy little hands on, by either completely changing the core identity of the franchise or just by not understanding the established tone. There are a few exceptions though, which I will get to later in this video. I believe there are a couple main underlying issues as to why it's so difficult to produce these types of movies, and may not be very well noticed within our society. So I wanted to talk about why it is so difficult for film studios to produce a good video game movie and what challenges they face in production. But before we get into the video, I'd just like to remind you all to hit that like button, as that would be greatly appreciated and help me out a lot. And subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more reviews or retrospectives on video games and film. Now let's get into the video. The very first thing I think we need to look at when understanding the complication of producing these types of movies are the difference between adapting a book as to adapting a video game. When you read a book, you visualize in your imagination the world in which the author is describing to you, as to a video game which the developers have established a specific art style. When a studio decides to make a live-action adaptation of a best-selling book such as Lord of the Rings, they have much more freedom in creativity of showcasing this world. They don't have to stick to a specific art style that clearly identifies it with the original form of media. But this isn't the core issue when diving into the reason these movies don't do well. Let's go back to the year 1993. Super Mario Bros. This was the very first live-action adaptation of a video game, and well, it clearly didn't do well. This is a perfect example of the producers completely changing the IP to fit their own vision and direction for the film, instead of actually trying to make something that complements the games. Like I said earlier, video game adaptations have to have an art style that resembles the games. This movie just doesn't try at all. It completely ignores the original feel and look to the games. I mean, Bowser's just your typical looking CEO. Then there's the Goombas. What an abomination! They turned this into this. The story also just makes no sense or have any correlation with the games, as it was just all over the place. I think the best way to just represent this movie is what the director himself says about it, Rocky Morton. He says, the idea of the film was to tell the real story, and that the games were a weird perversion of the original story, which the movie is. This quote clearly shows that they just had no respect for the original games, and that they felt they knew better when it came to creating its origin story. I don't think the studio saw this as any more of a easy cash grab, as anything relating Super Mario Bros. At the time would have been an easy way to make plenty of money. Unfortunately for everyone, that was not the case.
Oh no!
Now that we've seen what happens when you try to completely change an IP's identity, let's look at what I consider to be one of the best video game adaptations in recent times. Sonic the Hedgehog. I think it goes without saying that the redesign for Sonic was one of the smartest decisions in filmmaking in the last couple of years, and some may go as far as to say that it even saved the film. But we can't ignore all the other factors that were involved in making this film have such high reviews. This movie does so well at staying true to the characters and its overall tone, unlike other movies like Uncharted, which just feels like every other action-adventure movie out there. Sonic the Hedgehog does a very good job at establishing the tone through its music, design choices, and great writing. The very first thing they do in this film is have young Sonic running through his home planet, which appears to be the iconic Green Hills Zone. This was definitely done intentionally, and was more than just a reference to the original games, as they were finding good ways to bring the Sonic identity and have it make sense with the story and writing for the film. Now, I wouldn't consider myself to be a huge Sonic fan. I've only played a couple of the original games and a couple modern games here, which I don't remember a whole lot about. But simple things like them incorporating the original themes and sound effects from the games into the actual film score just made me so giddy, and I loved it. And I think it works so well with this film and just makes so much sense. Now, I can't move on until I mention the cast. Oh boy, I love seeing Jim Carrey in his prime. I mean, what a perfect cast. There are very few films where I can't see any other actor or actors playing, such as Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man or Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan. It just makes so much sense to have casted Jim Carrey for Dr. Robotnik. The character is so similar to previous roles that Jim Carrey has played in the past. And I've got to say, whenever Jim Carrey is on screen, it's always a highlight for the film. But I can't neglect the Blue Hedgehog himself. At first, I didn't really know who Ben Schwartz was. Apparently he was like some kind of comedian who was well known for like the Parks and Rec sitcom. Although he has a very great enthusiastic and kind of cartoony voice that complements Sonic's character very well. It definitely brings charm and is almost necessary for his character, as there's several scenes where Sonic's just trying to be witty and make fun of the situation he is in. I mean, Sonic 2 literally has a dance battle.
We got a #1 victory royale. Yeah, Fortnite, we bout to get down. 10 kills on the board right now. Just wiped out Tomato Town. My friend just gone down. I revived him, now we're heading southbound. Now we're in the Pleasant Park streets. Look at the map, go to the marked sheet.
Most film studios fail to realize that you don't need to make everything feel more realistic. We fell in love with these video game characters due to the characteristics and personalities that they displayed. We don't need to add humanistic attributes to the characters to make them feel more relatable. It's the character traits and relatable situations that we really resonate with. And we just want to see some cool action scenes with Sonic going ham on Dr. Robotnik. Overall, I believe that the reason film studios fail is due to a severe lack of knowledge of the core identity and maybe just ignorance of it in general, as well as not finding the right actors to play the roles and instead getting trending actors to play. And then most importantly, I think the main issue is that they are just not setting the right tone for the film. Although it seems that video game movies are improving, and we're going to be getting some new ones later next year, with the new animated Mario movie being released early next year in April. Hopefully it's better than whatever the this was. Alright, thank you all for watching. That's going to be it for the video. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel to see more videos of me just rambling about video games and movies. Alright, I'll see y'all next one. Peace.